Here we go. Hi. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Wisdom Seeker Joan, and this is Jennie, Starfish Jennie. How are you today, Jennie?
I'm great. How's everybody else doing?
Yeah. Hey, Juno, thank you so much for coming. And Samantha, we're delighted that you're here today. I think everybody else is busy or doing other things on this busy summer Friday evening. But we're delighted to be here. And I'm in a different place because it's hot and humid. You can kind of tell by my hair, it's doing that Rosanna Dana thing, where it just is growing because it's so hot and humid. So I had to get out of the upstairs office and come down to the first floor where it's a little bit cooler. And here Juno has a question.
Yeah.
Is there anything else has been? Okay, great. Yeah, anybody who's here, feel free to post questions. We'll have quite a private session here today. But first, we thought we'd talk a little bit about ghosts. And I'm sure you guys have ghost stories too. Jenny, do you want to talk about the one that you saw in the grocery store?
Yeah, that's last Saturday I was at the grocery store and I'm leaning over, looking at, the price of a can of something. And I could feel somebody that was too close to me in my space. And so I didn't look around, but I went, I just kind of ignored it. And then the person didn't get out of my space. The person was still in my space. So finally I turned around and looked and there was nobody there. So that's the way that I feel ghosts. When I can feel them. I can't see them, but I can feel them. And so I didn't even think to talk to the ghost, but I thought that maybe I was going to be doing a reading of someone that night. And that person has some ghosts around her house, and I think that one of them came to visit me ahead of time.
That makes sense.
Sometimes spirits will go visit a medium or a psychic before the actual appointment. So I thought that might be what it was. Didn't feel like it was a ghost that lived there.
But, I think that's a great story. And I think it's a great example of how we all sense things or perceive things differently, spiritual stuff, because you don't have to actually see an apparition to have an experience with a ghost.
Yeah, that's the way I feel them. So I've had like a ghost that I knew somebody had passed, and then I went to stay near where he had passed, and I think he had said in the reading, you'll find me at the beach. You'll find me. I'll be there. And so the first night I was there, this was a long time ago, I could feel him sitting in the chair in my bedroom, and he sat there all night long. But he didn't, the next morning he was gone. But that was very reassuring, because it was a time in my life that was, I needed a little reassurance.
Yeah.
And brotherly love. And then one time I was at the airport and one came home with us in Atlanta. And so I felt the ghost like sitting in a chair beside my bed. And I said, okay, if you're not my family, you need to go. And so the next morning I got up and went to, so I went to sleep. And the next morning I got up and went to a store that the owner could see ghosts. And I said, well, is there ghosts around me? He goes, no, but I see one walking down the sidewalk. So, Susan Lynn says that they'll get in a car with you.
Yeah.
Maybe, I said, you got to go. I took him, and then he got out of the car and just walked down the street.
Thanks for the lift part way, like hitchhiking. I can take you this far.
Got out of the airport.
Hey, I'm going to say hi to Carolyn Adams and False Teeth Realtor Row, Sonia Pinola, Purette, as we heal each other, Purette White, Chaley, let's see, Hypnicity, Janet C. Thanks everyone for coming. T-Barb, thank you. Yeah. Let's see. I think that's everybody. And I've got, I'm starring things as they come up, but and here Juno said she pulled a card for this session today and pulled the Akashic Field from the Akashic Tarot deck. So we'll be very tuned in and can hopefully bring through good answers for you. I'm just going to check for questions. Okay. Samantha, I got yours. And then I'm going to tell a little bit of a ghost story. This is several years ago now. I had been taking a psychic development class from a person locally, and we just started learning how to clear ghosts. And so I went to visit my sister at that time, lived about an hour and a half, 2 hours away in a little river town. And she had started up a little shop. She'd rented a storefront on the main street in this little town and had this cute little boutique. But every time she'd lock the place up and then go home and come back again, things were a little different. And she'd find, like, she had those little things that draw scent out, and like sticks, they're infuser sticks, infusions, whatever. And she knew that they were all in one place, and then one or two would be dripping, across the floor elsewhere. And the big deal was she kept getting this really foul smell. And she called, I don't know, the HVAC guys and they came over. And of course, when they were there, nothing smelled bad at all. And they came back like 2 or 3 times, because she'd call and say, yeah, it's stinky really, really bad now. Can you come take a look? And every time they came, there wasn't anything there. So she said, I think I've got a ghost. So of course, me, fresh from my first class on how to clear ghosts, like, oh, I know what to do about this. So I sat down, and this was like for the Midwest. It was a real old town, like a railroad town and shipping town on the river, on the Mississippi. And that storefront, it was an old, 1800s building. Lots of things had been in there. But I tuned in and I got this woman who was, and like you, I felt, and it's I don't see them objectively, but I felt her and I heard her and I felt her energy, and she was kind of nasty. And she really didn't like that my sister had started a shop in her room, in her place, because she had been there before. And anyhow, I talked to her for quite a while, and she told me that originally she had a shoe store there in the front, and then she lived either above or in back. But she was just having none of it. And I tried, but eventually it took a while, but I got her to go over to the other side. And then later, a local there, came in, and my sister said, hey, do you remember who originally, had this shop? She said, I think it was a shoe store back in the day. and there was kind of this cranky lady who lived there for a long time. So I think that helped. But I don't remember if she stayed away or if she came back. But I got rid of her for a little while at least. But yeah, if anybody else has good ghost stories, put them in the chat and we'll talk about them too. But in the meantime, I have questions from Junosphere, Hypnicity, Samantha, Sonia, Shali, and Amy. And I think we'll start with that for right now. You ready to go?
Sure.
Okay, let's do this. Juno says, if there is time after everyone else, it's been read. Well, sorry, you're going to get this first. Are there any messages for Junosphere? For Juno of the Junosphere, not Junosphere. It's going to take me a little while just to kind of tune in on the first one.
I'm getting from your guides, don't be afraid, you have everything you need.
I am getting, first my third eye opened, so you're envisioning something. And then what I'm seeing now is a paintbrush, and not like an artist paintbrush, but like a house painter's paintbrush. And you're kind of slapping a fresh coat on the siding. So what does this mean, Spirit? And they're saying that the house that this hand is painting, it's not a literal house, it's the house of your life. And it's, the clapboard isn't rotting or anything like that, but they're just saying needs a little freshening up. a new coat, a little something new. So not anything bad, but just something is going to be kind of, something new is coming into your life that will kind of freshen things up and make your life seem all brand new again. So I hope that that makes sense to you, and that you enjoy that. Oh, and she said, spackle to prepare me for showing my face. No.
You have a lot to share with people, and you're a great teacher. Just get out there and do it. Just get out there and do it.
Yeah.
They're going to be with you all the way, you know. And you have very powerful, and you know this, powerful guides. It makes me want to cry. I feel like I'm going to cry. Oh.
Yeah. And as everyone here, I'm sure already knows, Juno has a GoFundMe to help her get a new computer so she can continue making all those great videos that she makes, and some other things. All right, I will move on to hypnicity. Hello, ladies. I would love a message from my mom, Betty, who passed in 2000. So let's see if we can bring through Betty. Is it okay if I go first?
Yep.
Right away, they brought to mind a staple or kind of a landmark on the North Shore, on the shore of Lake Superior in Minnesota, where Highway 61, the one that Bob Dylan wrote about, goes up the edge of the eastern edge of Minnesota in the Arrow Point area. And it's a beautiful place and a beautiful drive. And for generations, people have stopped at a restaurant called Betty's Pies. And it's just kind of the thing to do when you're taking a trip up north to see the lake or the changing leaves or whatever. You stop at Betty's Pies, and they made me feel like your mom might have been an institution like that, where she was. It was just something you could count on, someone who would always be there for you. You didn't have to worry about, just kind of always there. And so she is saying that that she's still there for you, even though you can't, stop into Betty's Pies and eat her pies. She's still there for you, but just in a different way. Just like you could always depend on her to be there and to maybe sit down and have something to eat and a cup of coffee and pour your heart out to her. You can still do that, except you're going to have to bring your own your own physical pie or whatever her specialty was. But she wants you to know that she's as much present and as much of an institution in your life today as she was when she was physically here. And okay, so Betty, do you have any advice for hypnicity? She's showing me a cup of coffee. She just wants you to sit down and chat with her, just like you're sitting at the kitchen table and having coffee. And she said, I just heard, and I'm there all the time anyhow. So just take a little time and take a load off and just sort of sit down and chit chat with her. And you will either hear her voice or all of a sudden you'll be getting ideas in your head, and they are from your dear mother, Betty. Okay, what she said. We spoke over many meals over many years. Yeah, and she just kind of wants to continue that. Jenny, what did you get?
I got the same thing at the kitchen. sitting down at the table. I got that she wants you to either make something that she used to make or buy something that she used to make if you don't want to make it. Sit down and have a conversation with her over that meal or that food or whatever it is. And I can see her in the kitchen, you know. So I got the same thing. Just yeah,
Cool.
she's a wonderful mother.
Beautiful.
Her
Go ahead.
a great energy, just really nice energy.
When we were talking about ghosts, I asked for input, and Samantha said, I had a little girl visit us. She woke my baby up at night, played with the battery toys, and hid things we needed. I could see her very clearly in a solid form.
Wow.
It was an interesting 3 weeks. Wow. That's cool. She wanted to be there with the baby.
What happened after 3 weeks?
Yeah, it sounds like she just kind of left, but I think it's pretty cool. Okay, here we go. After 2 nights of the toys going off at 2 a.m, I'm removing all the batteries. Yes. That'll be interesting to see if they go off, even without the batteries. That was pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that.
So yeah, it doesn't have to be a ghost either. It can be a spirit that's just coming to visit
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, turn on things that don't even have batteries. And then, you know, they're just visiting and letting you know for sure that they're there. So it doesn't have to be like a ghost in residence.
Yeah. I just read about that in a book I was reading about how a couple's son who had passed used the electronics a lot and just constantly dinging, you know, then the phone would ring and there'd be nobody there, or the text would come and there was nobody really there, and, you know, maybe like 80 times in a row. And it's like, okay, we get the message.
Oh, that reminds me of my sister-in-law. When my husband was still alive, like one night I heard him doing the breakers, like breaker on, breaker off. And I was like, what in the world? And so I went out there and I said, what is going on? And he said, well, all of the lights are off. I can't get them to come on except for the clock light on the stove and the bathroom, his bathroom light. And it was as plain as day to me. I said, well, that's your sister saying hello. And he's like, oh yeah. And then it never happened again, because once he got the message, because she had, you know, departed recently before that happened, you know, that was a visit saying, you know, I'm okay, I'm here. So yeah.
Wow.
It was very reassuring.
Yeah.
Once
Samantha said she would shake their bed. I had to ask her to leave because we were all so tired.
oh,
Even my dog was watching her up the hall. She also enjoyed playing with the lights. Wow. After my sister passed, her fiance was cleaning out the house, and one day the smoke alarm went off for no reason in my late sister's house. And her fiance thought, I don't know what's going on there. But he went home, and he was kind of finishing up for the day, went home, and there was almost a kitchen fire starting in his house. So I think she was kind of saying, chop, chop, you got to get home and take care of things here. So yeah, so they're looking out for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, Samantha, now that you shared all those stories, we'll read your questions, see if we can get a message from your spirit team.
Okay.
All right. And I'm getting from your spirit team, I was kind of asking, so what was the little girl all about? And they're just kind of stating what you probably had assumed, that it was a little girl who passed. maybe, 7, 8 years old. Not a tiny, tiny infant or a tiny little girl. Uh, but she just loved the baby and loved that energy and just wanted to kind of be there and be part of the family for a little bit.
I got that your guides are saying you're a great mother, and they love the strength and the love that you provide to your children, and have fun, fun, fun.
And I pulled a card for you from my Archangel deck and got the Ascension symbol that says, Awaken your inner angel. That's interesting. Let's see if I can toggle back. Okay. Oh, and here is a story from Juno, who had a light right over her bed turn on in the middle of the night a few weeks ago. Not on the ceiling, a floor lamp with an arm that extends. I wonder who or what that was. Interesting. Okay. Well, maybe we'll get back to that because now I think we need to go on to some other people. But thank you, Samantha. Sonia, here we go. Ladies, can you ask my angels if I'll be able to successfully finish my cleanup of my house with no problems? Okay. I'm hearing that the words that came were "see it as clean, be it as clean," which that last sentence doesn't really make a lot of sense. But to both to see it as you're doing it, see the result you want, and that you can request that, kind of like sort of like in Hogwarts or the Harry Potter thing, the house elves, the spirits of the house to come help you. And one of the ways they're going to do this is to just, I'm seeing you, they're like keeping your eyes sharp. You'll be cleaning one thing and you'll say, oh, I've got to do that. And they're going to help you increase the efficiency of the work so that you can get the same amount of things done in less time and just be very efficient about it. So it's the angels and spirits of this house. Thank you for helping Sonia clean up this house as efficiently as possible and for the greatest good of all. And they keep saying, and with no stress, so that this can be accomplished with ease. Okay, Spirit, is this going to happen? And yes, and I'm just hearing very clipped little answers. Yes, it will. That put the energy into, kind of instead of going at the task with, oh my God, that I have to spend another day here, but kind of get your energy up and ask the angels and guides for help, and they'll help you be very efficient in the cleanup. How about you, Jenny? What did you get?
Immediately, well, not immediately, but ask for help. So you don't necessarily have to do it all by yourself. And sometimes you can have somebody just come in and like say take the trash to the dump for you, and that's very helpful because you don't have to leave the house. So ask around. You don't have to do everything by yourself.
That makes a lot of sense.
And of course, not ask somebody to do the whole thing, but just ask people to do little bits of it that'll make things so much easier for you, because you can do this and you will.
That sounds good.
And good luck. I understand how you feel.
Yeah, you've been through this, haven't you?
Yeah, sure did. 15 years of living in one place, gone. And it was not easy. And if I hadn't had, people to help me a little bit, and different people help you in different ways. So it's not like, oh, come and clean my house. No, you know, even if somebody brings you a cup of coffee, and talks to you for 5 or 10 minutes, it's little things like that. It'll make it a lot easier.
That's good advice. All the best, Sonia. And here's Charlie. Can I please ask what, if anything, may be coming in my life? Oh, I love readings. Well, I'm getting weird images, which of course is what I do. But I see a hand reaching out and it has a little bird in a nest and it's putting it kind of like in a little bush or something like that. And that makes me, well, and at first, before this, I was seeing hearts. And then I saw the bird in a nest being placed in a bush. So it sounds like initially it sounded like, okay, maybe you're going to meet someone that you kind of want to nest with. But then a big goose comes up to the nest and it's like shooing the hand away. No, 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 no. And then the goose goes away and it repeats over and over and over. So, Spirit, what does this mean for Charlie? It says, they're saying you're looking for someone to nest with, but it has to be the right bush. That one, the goose was too much trouble. So maybe there is this other energy. There might be someone or something else that's kind of shooing away the hand with the nest, this next step that you want to do. Spirit, tell me more about this. How do we get rid of this goose? Try something new. Now the person with the nest and the little bird in its hand, it's turning and walking away, going somewhere else and putting it up in a little tree. Yeah, and the goose is not going to bother it there. So it looks like you're trying the same way to start a relationship. And so they're pretty much saying, try something new. If you always meet people through friends, I don't know, try and meet someone through activity. Or if you always meet somebody at a bar, try meeting somebody, I don't know, on Meetup or something like that. But whatever is the traditional way that you usually connect with folks, maybe just change it up a little bit.
Or join a club or take a class of something that you're really interested in. Like painting or going to art galleries. It's definitely coming because my heart feels happy. Time, I don't know. None of us know time really, unless you want to pull out the pendulum.
And when I close my eyes again and follow this energy, there's the nest and the bird in the nest up in the tree now, and the bluebird comes and it's got a little piece of paper or something in its mouth. So the bluebird of happiness is going to come with a little something to help build the nest. So I think that there's some shift that you need to make, and then things will take off, so to speak. I hope that works out for you. Do you have any more to add?
No, that's great, Joan. I love it. I love that. Yeah, I think, do something new, take a class, go on a tour. I don't know, go somewhere you've never been before. Like if you live in a town where there's an aquarium, go to the aquarium, or join a group that cleans up rivers. I mean, just join something you're really interested in, or go to the animal shelter if you love animals and help with that, and then that will bring you closer to the kind of person that's interested in things that you're interested in.
Yeah. And you can just try simple ways to change up a routine. If you always go to one coffee shop, go to a different one. Just, yeah, change the flow, change the energy a little bit. And then report back. We want to know.
Yeah, we want to know. It's definitely coming.
And here's Amy. Does my Aunt Lynn have dementia? She's very forgetful and repeating herself. She's getting mean too. One time when my son and husband were around, we were talking about someone who was developing Alzheimer's. And I said, it was my mother's experience that as we get older, we become like a distillate of ourselves, more of our essential nature comes through. And if you're like a really sweet person, that's great. And as soon as I said that, they looked at each other like, uh-oh, what's going to happen when mom gets really old? My essential nature might not always be so sweet. But anyhow, let's see if that is what's happening for Aunt Lynn. And again, this is for entertainment purposes only. We're not medical professionals at all, but we'll read the energy. Oh, get her checked for a UTI. That in older people can cause personality changes. And they can get ornery. And it seems those symptoms seem completely unrelated to the way those affect younger people. Okay. Okay, Spirit. Anything else? Uncle Doc, come here. I love it when my medical team comes in because they're talking in words that I wouldn't do. I call in it's actually my grandmother's uncle who is a small town doctor, and we called him Uncle Doc. And he said, she does have some age-related memory decline or cognitive impairment, but it has been exacerbated by what he believes is a UTI. So, and that's not the way I would talk, but thank you very much, Uncle Doc. So yeah, I would get that checked out. And I don't really know at what age that happens, but it might be something to suggest.
Well, I would just say yes, from my experience. I don't have to ask Spirit. I had an older woman friend. She was, I don't know, 20 years older than me, maybe. And she had macular degeneration. I would take her around and take her out to lunch and make sure she could get out by herself instead of having to be with her husband all the time. And in the end of our friendship, she got really mean. And I was doing this, helping her almost 24/7. And she accused me of being too friendly with her husband. And I'm like, okay, I'm out. But if and this is your aunt, so if it is this, then just forgive her and don't let it bother you. Because you love her, obviously. And this is what happens to some people. So she just needs your kindness. That's what I have to say.
That's beautiful. Yeah, she's 84. I can see that happening. Yeah.
I have a friend who's 85, and I think it's happening to her. I mean, I've been friends with her for a long time, and we used to travel together, and she's getting mean. And that's not her personality. at all. So yeah, it's hard.
Who is the man, the doctor who wrote the book, The End of Alzheimer's? Um, it started Brendenson, something like that.
Yeah.
He's, you can see him on podcasts and on YouTube and things like that. But he wrote a best-selling book called The End of Alzheimer's, and it's really pretty fascinating. And he might have some. There's lots of, and he's done this clinically, where he's actually cured Alzheimer's for people for 10 years, whereas most of the traditional medicine, they develop pills that will slow the worsening of the disease. But he's got like all these different phases, and part of it, of course, is diet and what you do and all the intake. But that might be something to look into. There might be something there that you could find out that might be of, and carbs, right?
So spiritually, everything that's a physical ailment has a spiritual reason, spiritual root. So what I've read is that the spiritual root of Alzheimer's, that the person doesn't really want to be here anymore. So they start slowly leaving the earth plane. Of course, that's, I guess, in the more advanced cases, but, just center love and surround yourself with love too, because, don't let her bring your vibration down, but still center love.
It is really hard when you want to be there for family members, but you have to live your own life too. It's a real balancing act. I've been trying to do that with a sister-in-law, and I could spend every day there, and I try to be there, a couple times a week. But we're working it out together. But I feel so blessed because she's got a lot wrong with her, but she has just this ironclad positive attitude. And no matter what happens and no matter how bad things get, she's just like, well, I'm not going to worry about that because that just doesn't help anything. So I'm just, I've known her for, decades, but I've not known her as well since my husband died. And then, because we would sort of take shifts with her. But I really feel lucky that I've gotten to know her this well and really appreciate her. Okay.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yes, indeed.
And, ask for help within the community if you need support, where, we all help each other.
Okay. Samantha says, my grandfather has dementia, was placed in a home. His diet improved, and so does his dementia. He's much happier. Wow. I had a great aunt like that too. She just wasn't eating well. And yeah, that was great. Okay. So good luck, Amy, and let us know how that works out. And here's Viviane. Time allows a message from her spirit team. I'm seeing you kind of on a stage and everything's dark. But then there's this funnel that's going up out of your head, and it looks very much like this, except 1,000 times bigger. It's faceted, almost like a prism or something. And there is celestial white light just pouring into your crown chakra. Everything else looks dark. So if you weren't aware that this vortex above your head is pouring source energy into you, you just wouldn't know. So I think the message of what I'm seeing is that while things might look a little dark or scary for you right now, you're being filled with light and energy, and they are just trust that they are there with you. And this is kind of a transition time, but it's like, okay, so Spirit, show me what happens next here. Ooh, okay. So they're pouring all this light into you, and you're on the stage in the dark. We can't see anything. And then all of a sudden, boom, like a nova, it just bursts out of you and lights up the whole room. So good things are coming. Let's just put it that way.
My turn?
Yeah.
So, Viviani, I think that in the future you will be guesting on people's shows and doing what we're doing right now. That's in your future. I think that's, part what the white light is about. And then also I pulled a card and I got the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups, the person is like looking at the cups that are on the ground, but not looking at the one that's right in front of them that they're being handed. So I think that your guys are handing you this cup of white light, and just, every day connect and take in that white light, even go outside and take in that white light. And, pretty soon you're going to be doing what we're doing.
Definitely.
That's what I say. Well, that's what.
Yeah. And whenever you're ready, if you want to, just let me know, and I'd love to have you on. And Juno says, Viviani is an amazing being, more powerful and connected to spirit than she knows. I agree. Wonderful. Well, this has been kind of fun, but we still got, 15 minutes. If anybody else wants a reading, let us know. Otherwise, let's tell more ghost stories. I was on a ghost busting not too long ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Tell us.
This teacher, I've been kind of taking classes from her, like now it's down to once a month, but for the last 6 months or so. And the last class, she was saying, do anybody want to go on a ghost busting with me? Because that's one of her things she does.
Oh, wow.
And everybody else was like, yeah, I'd love to. And I was like, I saw enough ghosts when I was a kid, and I didn't know if I really wanted to. So, but I just didn't say anything. I didn't want to be like, oh no, I don't want to. So a week or so later, I get a call, and she said, do you want to go on a ghost busting with me? And I said, well, that'd be fine, but I don't know if I'd really see them or whatever. I was trying to just kind of dodge it. And she said, well, Spirit says you're supposed to come. And I said, okay, I'm with you. I'll meet you there. And we went to this place, and it was interesting and I won't give all the details because it was private and all of that. But the woman was very spiritually advanced herself and had crossed over ghosts for other people. But this one was difficult. And she said, I know when it's above my pay grade and I need to call in somebody else. And it was like sapping both her energy and her husband's energy.
Oh.
So my friend went through and did the clearing, and she said, oh, Joan, that's why they wanted you here. She went and put healing hands on the client and explained that the ghost, the reasons that she was getting sick was the ghost was sapping, taking her energy. And it came up from behind and got it from behind. So anyhow, she did a healing on her. And then she said, Joan, I have to go deal with the ghost more. You come and continue channeling healing to this woman while I go deal with the ghost, because otherwise he would like see the chance and just kind of suck it up again. And I didn't even know if I was doing it or not, or I had to ask her afterwards. And she said, oh yeah, I could see it, the white light coming down and all of that. And eventually it did leave. And the ghost, they kind of figured out a way that the ghost, how the ghost came there, and what its issues were, and who it was afraid of on the other side, and then it was able to cross over. But it was kind of a complicated one. Wow. But anyhow, it was kind of fun, and I was glad that it was helpful to that woman.
And aren't you glad you went? Because
yes, I am.
Look how it wouldn't have really been successful without your assistant.
Yeah, and that's what the teacher was saying too, and that that ghosts like to like sneak up behind someone and take their energy.
Oh.
Now, all right, we have a question from Karen Doyle. A message from Karen's spirit guides.
You have to say what you get. And I feel kind of stupid, but it's a song, and it's like blues. I'm not singing it either. Like blue skies are gonna clear up or put on a happy face. But I hear the song. You know that song, John? I'm not singing it.
I'm kind of getting that you might be feeling like you're just kind of going through the motions. I was seeing movement. First, I saw you driving a car, and then I saw I saw you like walking. I don't know if it's you. I'm assuming it is someone, just the torso in like an old fashioned pajama top that looked very nice. It was very satiny and everything, but just kind of like going up the stairs and what else? Going through the motions. Yeah. Driving, walking through the house, going through the motions. There wasn't a lot of energy or a lot of verve there. And then it came to me, maybe you're having trouble sleeping because I didn't know if you were sleepwalking or if you're just kind of walking around at night because you couldn't sleep or what. But then as I was asking, okay, so what comes next? And then there was the sunrise, and that made everything new again. So there's something about you're kind of feeling like you're just kind of going through the motions, or you might be having sleep trouble. But there's brighter days ahead. The sun is coming up. There's a new dawn. It's like stepping out of this kind of twilighty period and into the sunlight again. And I don't know, shaking something off to make it all brand new again. I'm sorry, I'm not being very articulate here. If that makes any sense to you, please let me know. Are you getting anything more helpful, Jenny?
Then it went right out of my head. So let me try to get it back.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, so let's see. Spirit, what can Karen do to shake this off?
Sometimes I get something. I should have written it down because I wanted to interrupt you, but then I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, that's just fine. Anytime.
Now I'm like, what was that they said? Oh, I know what they said. And this is from your guides. Fake it till you make it. So put that smile on your face. Things are going to get better. But if you, they said fake it till you make it. That's what I got. I mean, I get very direct, kind of one sentences things. And I know that doesn't sound nice, but it is nice. Like that's, okay, I made that good. I mean, you are gonna get there, and take good self-care. Like if you're having trouble sleeping, take good self-care. Like drink a glass of water before you go to bed, or I mean, not water, milk, or take a bubble bath or a shower, and then walk around in the yard. Like take care of yourself, and then in taking care of yourself and self-care, you will start to feel happier. There you go.
We're connecting here because before you started talking, I got one more image, and that was your feet and ankles in the same very nice pajama set, very, ivory, kind of satiny, very, I could just almost feel how good they'd feel on your legs. But you were outside standing barefoot on the green grass. And that was, 45 seconds before you said that, Jenny. And then I did draw an angel card for you and got Archangel Ariel, who is saying connect with nature. So you said it, I saw it, and the cards say it too. So that might be a way to help kind of step into the sunlight and shake off the that kind of wandering around in the darkness kind of feeling. Anyhow, okay. And Karen says that makes total sense. Oh, that is just catnip for me. Thank you so very much for responding for both of us. Thank you.
Catnip.
Wonderful. I know. And here is Ellen R. Joan and Jenny, message from Spirit, please. Re-asking in case you missed it earlier. Thank you very much. I am very prone to missing things. I'm trying to get better, though. Okay, this is exciting. I've never gotten cowboys before, but what I saw was someone who knew what she was going after and was riding the horse and had the lasso twirling up above your shoulder, and you threw the rope, and then I couldn't see exactly what was happening, but you are aiming for, and you're at that point where you're about to rope this little doggy or whatever it is. I'm not quite sure what about that calf roping. That's what it is. And so you roped the head, and then there's some other person on a smaller horse. Maybe there's a younger person who's coming in to help you, because this seems to be whatever it is. It seems to be a big job. You're leading the way. You tossed out the main rope, but you might need some assistance for actually getting the job done. Okay, Spirit, can we be any more specific for LNR on this? They said you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm going to draw a card for you, though. Spirit, let's get a card for LNR. I got the satellite symbol, and it says, turn on your light. I don't know how that goes in with calf roping. Oh, you know what? It does. Where did it go? The symbol looked sort of like the lasso. Well, let me put it back in the deck. Jenny, why don't you go ahead, and I'll see if I can find this.
Well,
here it is.
I just pulled a card, and I got the Page of Pentacles. And it's a really beautiful card. I don't know if you guys can see it. That. There you go. So it looks like she's in Polynesia or Hawaii or something. And so I think that, pages are very fast moving energy, and Pentacles is about abundance. It could be money, doesn't have to be money, but something good is coming fast.
And she said the whole rodeo thing that I had going on might refer to an associate who she's teamed up with at work. So good. I'm hoping that you can bring that calf down and tie up its feet. Or whatever horrible things they do with it.
So when you do, then there's going to be a good outcome.
Good. Excellent. Oh, wonderful. Well, I just want to thank you so much for doing this. This has been really fun. Okay, yes. And I think we've gotten everybody who asked questions. Hide current comment. There we go. Thank you very much. But Jenny, thanks so much for coming. And And if anybody wants to, let us know if you think we should do this together again sometime. But I really enjoy reading with you.
Thank you. Did anybody post Juno's GoFundMe link?
I'm going to put it in the show notes after this is over. I would get it myself, but I'm not computer savvy enough to do it without perhaps losing everything.
It's not just for her to continue doing her what she's been doing. She's going to have a website, and she's an amazing, talented artist. So she's going to be selling things that she makes. I mean, and stones too, because she worked at the stone show for many years. So that website is going to be really something that we're all going to want to visit often. And I think she's going to teach classes too, because Jono has a lot of knowledge in that head.
Yeah, we've all benefited from her extensive troves of knowledge.
Oh yeah,
wonderful. Anyhow, have a great weekend, everybody, and thanks for kicking it off with us here. Yeah. And if you want to, I will be on with, or actually Scott will be joining me on my channel on Saturday, kind of mid-afternoon. I'll put up a little reminder about it a little bit before we head out there. But yeah, I hope you join us.
And Scott always has a great chat. His people, they support each other. They talk to each other. It's going to be good for you. So.
Yeah. And I want to thank everybody who's become a subscriber to my channel. I finally made it over 300. Yay. So thank you all very, very much. And with that, we will say, mwah. Bye for now. And thanks again for coming.
Bye.
There.